Right, so I've used my burnt sienna there to just outline, and it's dryish. I mean, it's very thin. I've used a lot of Zest-It there to water it down, and I've also what I have found that a lot of artists on YouTube put their poet book like that next to the picture, which I might do in future ones, but at the moment I'm going to just keep it down here. So on the colours I've got here, I've got my burnt sienna, lemon yellow, cad yellow, ultramarine blue, cobalt, cerulean blue, scarlet lake, cadmium red, deep, and then I've got some right there, permanent rose, that's it, yeah, rose madder. And I'm not sure if you're going to use this. This is yellow ochre and white. So obviously I'm going to make my greens, make my blacks, and I'll go from there. What I'm going to start with is the black. I'm going to put the black in. So I'll just test my brush, which width. I think it's going to be this one. So that's number one. This is quite a small painting for me. I normally paint bigger than this, but it's good. It's good to do different sizes. So to make black, use the poster primary colours. So that's cadmium. In this case, it's cadmium yellow. I've got cadmium red, deep. That does make a little bit difference to the black. I think it makes it slightly darker. And I make my orange first. I don't know if you can see this. There, that's a bit better, isn't it? If that could be. I might leave that there actually. You'll be able to see the palette then. It will fall down, I'm sure. So, and then ultramarine. This is what gives it the black colour. So keep mixing it in. So I've got quite a green colour there, so I need more blue and more red, so I get more of a purple tint. These this is a palette for my plein air painting. It fits my pochard box really nicely, and I get them made. I get them cut from Perspex at my framers, so they've cut this for me. So I thought, oh, I'm into this size. I quite like this size to mix. I'll just test it. That's pretty good. Perhaps a bit more blue. It's the blue that gives it the dark. I have got a really nice ultramarine deep as well. If I can find it. It's become my favourite colour. I do like ultramarine because of all the mixing options you've got with it. It's just the best colour for making darks. Got a nice black there. So there you go. You don't need to use blackout tube. Use blackout tube, it's just a manufactured flat colour. If you mix your own, it gives you tints over the colours. Obviously the yellow and the red, and you can darken it and lighten it accordingly. Well, I'm just having a flat black and grey with black and white. So, off we go. I also probably use this. This is a great little tool for me to rest my hand on. Just blocking in colour at the moment. Now this black, already I've noticed, there's a bit of red. So I'm just going to add a bit more of red here. So cows aren't black. The sun will be hitting on the light. So with flat brushes like this, it gives you a definite, I don't know whether this brush is going to be a bit big. I'll keep going. Gives you a definite line. There's also quite a bit of blue. I'm just going to move off here. Got quite a lot of paint on my brush there. See if I can mix up to more of a blue. Yeah, so these flat edge brushes give you a nice straight line when you start painting. And it's oil I'm painting in. I use Winsor & Newton oils. Quite nice quality. I am thinking of investing in some Michael Harding ones, which are top of the range, but obviously with that comes expense. I might ask that for Christmas. Right, so I'm just blocking in that colour there. I'm not, where the highlights are, I'm just going to leave. So I'm not painting the whole of that shape in. Because once you add white to stuff, everything becomes white. I'm just going around and getting most of this. And those tags are yellow there in the ears. So I won't, I'll leave that to be yellow. There is a lot of blue in this head honcho cow here. And his nose is getting, it comes down to his mouth, it's getting lighter. So again, I'm leaving gaps there. I might just add a little bit here. So he's got quite a blacky grey there. And with your brush strokes, you follow the shape. I'm keeping what I call a halo. So where this black butts up to that black there, there's because this is oil, you don't want it to go right up to it because you've got to lighten it. It's lighter there than where it is elsewhere. I do like the edges on these brushes. Nice. See, this is starting to fall down now. I might have to think of a way to keep that. Put something there. Something heavy. See if that works. For now. No, that doesn't work. But it might be an option to use oh, I know what would work. Put it on this. And then that'll probably fall down. No, let's just put it back. Might have to be a blue tack job. I'll think about that for the future. Let me just see. Yeah, you can see it, can't you, in the video? Right, so, and here, he's got quite a lot of black, this cow. Again, I'm not going up to that line. I'm just saying this is black here, look. And here. Because this paint will stay workable, for a while. again, don't want to add any white yet down there. Quite like the brushes, I'm impressed. So I've got Zest It on my, it's my medium to mix the paint. That's what I use. I used to use linseed oil, poppy oil, terps, but they're all very smelly. And I paint mostly with oil. So this just alleviate. There's no smell with this. It's sort of like it's got a citrus, lemony smell. I think you can buy a lemon one or an orange one. So I'm just being a little bit careful of where I don't want any white on my brush yet, or another brush, or on the painting, because as soon as white goes in, it gets everywhere. But I will have to use it to lighten parts of the black. Again, there's a bit of blue. It's coming down there. So we call this blocking in. I'm looking at this colour and blocking in all the parts I can see in black, but not obviously the highlights I'm keeping where it's gone grey or it's a lighter black. I'm keeping those little halo lines, and also the eyes, because I'll paint the eyes. I want that to go there. It's got that, got that. And here I'm using my brush, curving my brush, because that eye bulges out there. It curves, so you've got to use the brush in the strokes. It's not just keep going across and up and down, you know, you want to use these brush strokes for the contours. I'm just going to go there. Quite like these brushes, nice. Where did I get that from? That must be from the, from on here. Let's go over here. See, with these flat edge brushes, you can, everybody thinks to paint with a round brush, and it's not. The round brushes are really for detail. These flat edges are for blocking in, which is what I'm doing now. So I'm blocking in the colour. And also this, I will say, I think I got this photo from Unsplash, not Google. So Unsplash is a website that's dedicated for artists, really, to reproduce from. So there's no copyright infringement on the photo, which is very kind of photographers to do that for us artists. Right, I better sound really funny because I know I'm whispering, or a little bit. Yeah, I might have to do this video in a few parts actually as well, because oil painting, or any painting, you know, it's not a matter of, unless it's watercolour is quite quick, because it's technique really, rather than painting. Oil paints take a while, you know. So you might think some of these shapes look a bit weird, finished. Just go across there. It's got the sort of markings. Some of these cows have got, you know, I love the black and white markings. I think they're really, they really give the character of the animal, don't they? Right, so yeah, I'll just make this a little bit tidier. I'll just go down there to there. I'll just go down here. I'm not going to try and do everything literal, so this is a photograph, this is a painting. So, you know, I'm not a photographer. I haven't got a lens or a camera. I've got a paintbrush, so, and a hand. So it's a different application altogether. And I always tell all my students we're making an impression of what we see, not a photographic representation, you know, copy. Because we can't, because, you know, it's a machine. We're not machines. You don't know what filters are on there or anything. So really, it's a guide. When you have anything like this to work from, it becomes a guide. Just go, and some of these angles are quite acute there. Just sort of, I like him, the little one behind. He's cute, isn't he? He's got a bit of a black mark coming along here. And this one's a bit... They're ladies, by the way, aren't they? They're not men. Ladies. Ladyhood. Sometimes it's really hard to think of titles for work. Prices and titles. Painting it is, you know, the part we all love. I do like that purple. See here, there's a real... I'm going to add a bit more red there. There's a real, where the sun's hitting it, misty red colour there. Along his back, her back. And again, I'm following the contours of that belly there. You know, you don't block it in. Oh, some artists do, and it's quite effective actually, but I prefer to paint this way. Now here it's quite blue. Down here. I have added from the photo a little bit more colour in this on my Mac before I printed it out, because it was a little bit flat. So I have altered the colour slightly. I'll probably put this on my YouTube actually. There is another cow video on there, but I think it's time-lapse. I don't normally paint a lot of cows, because it would look like I paint a lot of cows on my YouTube video now, because this is black here, but I want to keep that so I can define that. So I'm leaving that line. Can you see this is black? But that's there's a lighter element of black there, so I'm just leaving the gap there so that when I come to blend a lighter colour in, it'll be easier to see that. I'm still not going to use white. I thought about it then, but I'm not. I'm still just looking at the darks. Yeah, and you normally start putting in the darks, mid-tones first, with oil. It's a lot easier than watercolour in that way. Obviously oil has its other skill set, you know, how to paint in oils is totally different than how to paint in watercolour. So just around here I think is a bit confusing, so let's just go back to here. Let's just go over there a bit, just to, it's quite a cute angle there. Just come down, using that edge of that brush there, look, just to, and that just come round into the nostril there. This is whiter, it's lighter there, so I'm just going to leave that again. I've missed a few of the cows out, like I say. Don't need it in there. There is a tail here, which I don't know whether I'm going to put in. I don't know if it's needed, and it might be a bit distracting, so I'm just going to leave that for the minute. Still looking more at where these markings are. That is sort of like a triangle there. This is all black again. So again, I'm just going to have to, because I've got to, if I paint it all the same tone, it's, you know, you're not going to see that it's an ear there. And I don't want to put white over the top. I want to leave that halo to keep the colours clean. So I'm sort of not letting the paint meet at the moment. Now that comes down there, it's the same length, those two are the same length. And I think these legs are a little bit longer, but we'll think about the legs in a minute when we get down there. Quite like that straight jaw there. And that just bored round there. Can you see that leg? Just bored there to give the cow that. A bit of a, I'm just going to accentuate that a little bit so you can see the ear is above that back there. So, just looking at all of this. This here is, it's quite tricky, that patch there. Got more markings coming down there. This one. These brushes are slightly different to the ones I'm used to. They're a little bit more coarse, which will probably make them last longer, to be fair. I think those are the ones I like. Just don't last long enough for me, and I'm not that heavy-handed, to be fair. I'm quite light with I'm not a slapdash, you know, even though I do sometimes do a bit of slapdash, but generally I'm a bit of a dabber. Yeah, I was a bit disappointed in them, how they lasted. But, you know, moving on. We're on to these now. And Rosemary Co. is such a lovely company to work with, right, to buy from, because they it's very personal. You get a nice little message from the owner when you buy, which I think that's a nice touch. So that's my tag there, and the ear, just making that a little bit more defined, that it goes there. This is black. Again, that's my ear look there, but I don't want to cut into it yet, so I'm leaving that. I'm going to paint that. There's lots of foreshortening in these cows. This one still looks a little bit strange. A little bit better. Yeah, they're already starting to get some personality, aren't they? Yeah, so yeah, but getting back to the cow thing, I don't really paint a lot of cows, even though it looks like I do. But I quite like this grouping, so that's what's interested me, is the grouping of them. Made me want to paint it. Now, where to go from here is the next question. Which I think I'm going to go. I'm going to go with the whites of the cows now. So I still have my, what will happen now, this brush will go down, because this is my black brush now, so this will be used in all the areas of black. If I now wash this and doing it, you'll have residue, so I tend to just wipe it off the excess, give it a bit of a wash. And lay it flat over here. I am going to have to go into my silver brushes now. That's quite a nice one. I prefer long brushes to short. I do have short brushes. Where are they? So these are Rosemary Co as well. These are synthetic, the evergreens. You can see that brush there. Yeah, that's it. Flat squares again, not flat squares again. I start using the rounds when we put the details in. So all the blocking in is flat squares. You get this stuff, that edge. You need the edge to get your lines in, shapes. So here, this is a Rosemary Co. I haven't used that one very much because it's too short. I like the long, you know, because I can go up the brush and paint really loosely as well. Here, I feel as if I'm a bit too near. Right, so what tissue is that? Right, okay, so I'm going to start adding. Now, if you look at the white, it's not white, it's got bits of yellow, bits of pink. So what I will do is make a mixture of that. So I'm going to start with, take some white and put it here. Don't know, can you see that? Yeah, it's quite good having the palette there, isn't it? You can see how I'm mixing it. So again, as soon as I touch white into paint, it's going to, what does it do? It sort of, not dissolves it, it dilutes the colour really. Yeah. So I'm going to use a little bit of this Scarlet Lake up here, which is like an orangey red in my white there. And I've got blue tissue here that I'm wiping. I've got some Zest-It in a little tin over here. This is my cleaning brush tin. And I'm just cleaning my brushes and then Zest-It in there. And then I've got some Zest-It in this little pot here for painting with. So that's what I have, and that's my setup. Everybody's is different, you know, whatever you like, you will find. And here I'm just going to add a little bit of yellow because this will make a an apricot, like an apricot colour, which is sort of like the nose. I've gone a bit overboard there with the yellow. Let's turn it down a bit. So yeah, the white sort of diffuses, that was the word I was looking for, the colour. So it gives you desaturates it. Takes the saturation out. That's the word. So I've got me sort of nosy colour there. I've got me white, but it's still not. There's a bit of green in that as well, I suppose. This is lemon yellow, which is really a really good colour for highlights. I'm going to try this, see what happens. Let's just. Maybe that's some sort of the colours here, and more white in the middle there. So we'll start with that and see how we get on. This is a number 1 brush again, because it's a small painting, so numbers are low on the brushes. I am going to change my tissue as well because I'm using a different colour now. It just helps with all the contamination of colour really. Right, so let's look at the white. So this is quite whitish here. Let's just start with that, see how we get on. There's a little bit of blue in that. Now, instead of using this, I'm going to use the cobalt blue there. And I'm doing it in very, very small amounts at the moment, because I'm just finding my feet with these colours until. So I don't want to mix loads of colour and then think, oh, I don't really want to use that. So I'm trying to take in the saturation out of that blue, add in more white. See, that's what happens. Saturation comes out. And it is quite bluey. Let's get my thing again. Miles stick, use this all the time. Teaching, demos, comes with me. It's a great little tool because I can just lean my hand. Obviously, I'm left-handed, so it goes to the left, but if you're right-handed, it'll be going that way. And you just lean it on. There's a very little small tint of blue. Oh, that's a good start, isn't it? In this one. Half of it is looking at the colour, looking at your picture and working out what colour you can see. And we'll all see it differently, and that's the beauty of painting, isn't it? Because if we're all the same, I'm going to use that sienna there just to create a little bit of a shadow. And there. Now where this sienna is on my painting, it will act as a bit of a ground as well, because I won't be able to cover all of it up. And I think this painting will be done not in just one, it won't be done in one sitting, because it's quite a lot of black and white here, and it's late in the day, to be fair. What are we on? 3:20. There's a bit of yellow in here. This lemon yellow is lovely, just to pick out those. Now that's got the, see, if I just add a little bit of white to that, I get that there. That might have to be another brush. So this is why I have a few of the same size brushes. So just gonna add, I can use this small brush now. Put some of that there. So that's just, I will use, see this, I'm going back now to my white brush. So all the black brushes are on the table, so I don't pick them up and use them, basically. So I'm keeping, you're going to need a few brushes, you know, if you're painting in oils and acrylic. Well, anything. You need it in watercolour too. So decent brushes, they need to be decent. That's white there, because see the stroke, it's the quality of the stroke there that you want. So if you buy cheap brushes, you're not going to get this straight line quality. A bit more of that lemon yellow going in. It's quite yellow here at the bottom because it's reflecting off the grass. So I'm just going to put that in as yellowy white there. Do I add we've got a cobalt blue, haven't we? Could make a sort of light green tinge. No, I think these feet are a little short, and I've got me what's it there now. What I'm going to do is just lift it up. Let's just lift up this. Bulldog clips are a must. Let's just take this off because I know what's going to happen now. Once I start moving everything, let's just take that off a minute. Oh look, see, it's stuck onto that one. Don't know why I've got two. Don't know. Don't know why I've got two pictures of it. Don't know. I'll just put two up there. I'm an artist, these things happen. Right, okay, so I'm not even using the bottom one, am I? So I've just moved it up. You can see the feet more up now. Again, I've got my white brush. So the feet, how long are they? And they splay out a bit. The grass is covering. I think that's why I haven't done them very long, because the grass is coming into them. And these little spots here, the knees, you can use that sienna there for the shadow. I'm liking this little green mix I've got going on here. So again, that just come up to the face there. So it's all very small dips and dabs in your medium. It's not like watercolour and acrylic where you're using, you know, jars of water. Bob Ross, famous oil painter, bless his heart. Used too much. He used to have his, well, we've all watched him, haven't we? In the Joy of Art, isn't it? That he does. And he's like banging the side of his easel with his brushes in the terps, sloshing it about as if it was like water. You don't need to do all that. I suppose with him, he uses a lot of specialised brush strokes, doesn't he, with his brushes. So here, I'm just blocking that in again. I'm going to come back to those knees. I'm not too sure, but I've got the white on, so the white will help me. Again, just there's a nice bit of lightness here. Belly's quite pink. Again, these brushes, and that sienna's helping me with those shadows there. So that's actually black. I've missed that there. I'm going to come back to that. That there, we've got a nice highlight going across there. In a minute, that one. Right, I'll go across and do all the white and come back. What I am going to do is get my black out again, just so, because it's, I can see it now while I'm here, is this area. Oh, I've missed that, is black. So, oh, everything's starting to fall down. I'm going to have to devise something so that I can put that there. So, because you can see the palette, which is the whole thing, isn't it? So here, again, you know, keeping these loose lines, more painterly. More painterly, look, we've got this ready, using just that cad there, just to give that wristy ready black. So if you're using black out of a tube, you haven't got these options. So there's a bit of white, and that just come up black there as well. Let's just get that in as well. So we're getting the shape of him. I keep, you know, seeing him all the time in there, women. Yeah, it's coming on there. Put the black down, back onto the white. What I will do here, I will come over this line. So we're diffusing the colour there, that. Bit more white. See the sienna here, you've got a bit of a shadow. So that sienna can help you with the shadow there, instead of you having to think about it. So that's the eye there, look, in the black. I don't know what I'd do without this marble stick, you know. Not now. I'm so used to it. It's great. I'm chatting about stuff now, aren't I? instead of painting. Right, okay. So yeah, I went out plein air last week. One of my ladies says, well, I sat down the other day to do, I thought, right, we're going to sit down and do this video. I'm going to follow it that you put on, and it was like in time lapse. Couldn't follow it, she said, so I was like, oh no. So I thought, do you know what? I haven't done a video on my channel for a while. Again, it's a cow. I will put this on. So here, you see this? We've got a little bit of, again, that sienna can help with those colours there. It's a bit harsh, that white, so I might just add that apricot colour we made, just to dull that down. A little bit there. So I'm trying to keep my paint clean, trying not to get the black on my brush, trying to keep my brush nice and white and clean so that I can put these lovely white areas in. They're not really white, but lighter areas. When the black of the hide hits the white there, you get sort of a blue. So that's the cobalt blue there, just mixing in with the white there. What I do like in this is you can see the eyelashes. That's really nice. So I want to try and keep that, and that obviously adds to the prettiness of the cow, doesn't it? So here again, we've got white going around that face there. Just cutting in there. That might be. I have to do a bit of black because I've missed the black there. It's a bit like a jigsaw. Maybe not him, I don't know. Maybe I should just shorten paint and just let you watch the brush. Right, so here, look, we've got this lovely apricot coming in there. Again, I've put that there with the burnt sienna there, and it goes around the neck. Just made that a bit too big. Let's wipe that off. I'm not using thick paint. My paint's quite thin. You build up with oil paint. You build up the paint layers. So, and that also gives you choices. So if you start off quite thin like this, you can really finish a painting. It's called alla prima. You can finish painting in one session because you know it is wet, the paint, but it's workable. It doesn't become a slimy mess. But as you work it, you work your layers, you work your paint thicker and thicker until the last layer, the highlights, just going to put a bit more of that just around those knees. Got dirty knees, this one. See, I'm tempted. No, I use my black brush. See that? I've picked up my black brush now, just to get a little bit of shadowing these knees. And there is a bit of a. This paint, I haven't added any more paint onto my brush. I'm just using what I've got on there. I'm going to come round here a bit more. That needs to be lifted up that way. good shape there, it's quite pronounced. That is the black. Just come around the eye there. And the eye might be a little low. We'll look at that when it dries a bit. Just look a little low there, doesn't it? This here, I've got black going on here. This is the cartilage bit. There's perhaps a little bit of, I'm just brushing the brush along that. At the excess paint, try and take a bit of that off. Again. We're getting that cobalt blue coming in again. I quite like this blue here, so I'm going to add more to the legs here. It's with white, obviously, and a bit of that lemon yellow, which does, now here, can you see the, I might not be able to see it on the camera, but there is a shadow going there. So I'm using my brush this way to create, and it gives the dimension for the cow. Yeah, and then here, there's a little bit of a shadow there as well. She's peeping behind, isn't she? Being cheeky, that one. The grass is coming up into these feet, so we'll look at that when it's dry. Quite big. Again, just painting over those umber lines, sienna lines, sorry. And there is a little bit of that yellow again. Just here. I'm going to just lighten that a bit because I think the eyes are a little bit higher there. That's better. You can see the eye there a bit better. That'll dry and then that'll help me then with the eye there. Which means I'm just going to get rid of that mark. I just need a little bit more paint. That's it, so it gives me a bit more of an eye. Now this cow is at the front, this cow's behind, this cow's at the front, this cow's at the front, and this cow's behind. So when you're doing the front ones, they're obviously more prominent. When you're doing the behind ones, they are not so. So it gives you know, I'm not going to do much more to him probably tomorrow. I'm going to do some more of this tomorrow. Although I have got gardening and cleaning to do, so it might be the next day. So here, oh no, I just painted over his pink nose. Look. Stupid Emma. I quite like that. I'm going to put that on here now. So, you know, not much detail needs to be on that one. It's more the ones at the front that have the detail. Right, next. This is white here. It looks a bit odd, but let's just put that in. Well, this might be where the other photo might be worth looking at. Right, so got that one. This one, see, this is quite blue. This white isn't white, it's got blue because of it's coming the reflection off the black of the skin. So, you know, you want this blue, and this blue's working quite well actually in this painting. It's helping the skin tones there. So again, it's this cobalt blue with white and a little bit of that lemon yellow mixed in. Let's get a bit more. This is becoming my favourite colour, because again, it's like ultramarine. It's good it's a good mixer. Good mixing colour, that is. For your highlights, for your lights. Let's get a bit more, get my brush a bit wetter. So again, cut into there. These brushes, these brushes are nice, but I think those Rosemary & Co ones, I'm gonna, well, we'll see. It's like an experiment, isn't it? It might be that I'll buy both brands and just use the both. Now, the thing is, with the drawing, I traced this drawing, so I didn't really draw it, but I can't trace the paint. So I traced it because of the group. I wanted the group thing is what I want. You know, the group, I like the shape of the group. That's what's made me want to paint this picture. So if I drew that, I know that I would get some of that wrong. So I traced it from that photocopy there, which I've had countless, well not countless, but me and my friend, my arty friend, we have good arty chats, and she said to me, you know, why you worry about the drawing when you can do that? You still got to paint it. And she's right. I don't always trace, only sometimes. And this is a time. So there's a lot of blue and green. You can see it's the tones. It's the tones within those colours, because there's shadows from the head. So even though we say it's black and white cow, it is a black and white cow, but it's got these other colours in. Obviously, you can't trace when you're painting plein air. Which it's like painted plein air is like it's obviously painted from life, so it's like life drawing. Really good thing to do, because it hones in your skills. It hones in, you see the light, you see what's in front of each other, what's behind each other. It's like, what would you call it? It's a bit like it's food for your skills. It's feeding your skills. So, you know, people that do plein air all the time, just amazing artists. I look at a lot of them on Instagram, and I would love to be able to do that all the time like they do. But unfortunately, well, I'm in a different position. I can't just stand and paint all day. I'm a teacher. I have to pay the bills as well as an artist. So because it's a summer holiday, I have got more chance of going plein air, which I've been doing. But I think going out and doing that just sort of hones in the skills. Even for colour mixing, everything. Coming on, aren't they? Coming on. So this again is blue. It's a bluey white, it's that cobalt blue there. Can you see here to here? Now I'm painting against white as well at the moment, which some of these tones might change when I start putting the backgrounds down. We'll see. Might have to lighten them up. But I'm using that ground for to help put it in the shadow. So here, look, it's got a pink belly. These brushes are amazing. I just wish they lasted. Maybe it's just a bad batch or something I had. Don't know. That there, I'm just going to take a little bit of this, because that is quite a dark shadow there. Just take a bit more. I don't really want it to be black, but it is a darker. Maybe there's a bit more green in it. Let's take more blue. That cobalt there. See how I'm mixing the colour rather than introducing colour. Another tube. Do you know what I mean? Just going to put a bit, yeah, it just needs that. Not quite the right colour there. Try and get a bit dark, that's probably a bit better. We'll get there eventually. Bit of shadow in there. But it is a bit more white as well. It's this yellow, isn't it? That's what I'm seeing. Yellow, white. And then the back of the cow. What I will do is finish these two here, and it's the ear. It's whiter. I'm still not tidying up my edges. I'm still keeping my edges sort of options, really. I don't know why I did that, because that's wrong. Let's try and put that pinky colour. And now I'm starting to run out of some colour. This pinky colour that I made. That actually, dips there. Just see if I can get a bit more. I'll come back to that tomorrow because there are lighter elements in it here as well. Again, that hide comes round. There's a bit of a shape in there. I've accentuated that a little bit because let's get a bit of this on. I am going to come a bit closer here now. And the face is lighter than that, so let's see if I can darken that. Nice. So that thing, I think I can now afford to, because I've done that, I can now afford to come under here. See this deep ultramarine. I really like in there. But I'm going to leave just little bits. This comes more. This comes out. These brushes are amazing, I tell you. You need to get some of these brushes, they're amazing. It's worth buying, spending more. That comes down there like that. And then that goes up and round. And it just comes down there, just to finish him off. That is a bit lighter, we'll leave his eye there. That's a bit better. That's a bit better there. Oh, just fill that in. Up there, it's got another little shape that sort of comes off. Right. Here, because I haven't done this eye, there's not a lot of definition there, so we're waiting for that. That'll be a tomorrow job. Because if I paint it all, I'm not going to be able to see what I need to do, or, you know, what we're on now. 10 to 4, yeah, I'll probably get these whites on here, and then it'll be another sit-in to go around the back. If I did the background now, I'd start to get this colour merging in, so it's best to leave it overnight. See, just a little flick can mean so much. I really need that to dry there, really. Right, so back to the white brush again. Here. Oh no, it's gone in the black. Why did I do that? Why did I do that? Oh dear. Oh, it's better than going in the tea, I suppose, and the wine. Right, okay, so here, we're back on the whites. Let's get a bit more white on here. This one looks a bit sad, doesn't he? This one. Her, it's a girl, Emma, it's a girl. It's a cow, lady cow. So here, it's that yellow, see that yellow? Just lifting that there. And I'm just gonna blot this in. Again, I'm using my brush, you see the angle here. You want to use the brush in that angle. And her head sort of comes there for some reason. I think this one's a bit, doesn't want to be in the photo. Not liking it. Oh. We'll cheer her up a bit. Now this, I was getting a bit confused with down here, so I'm going to put my white on there. And then think about the black when I come back. So I've got my white brush at the moment. Again, this blue is popping up. I'm loving this cobalt blue in this picture. It's really giving it another dimension with the shadows. You know, shadows are part of the colour that you're painting. So, you know, blue is in that black, as you saw me mix it. This one's a bit strange shape going on. Get there. She's got a nice white snout at the bottom. Again, using my brush, the angles on that edge, flat edge. She's got white bits coming that way. I am going to put that black in there, just so that we can tidy that bit up. So again, the blue, there's quite a lot of blue in this side. Let's just lean on that there. Black comes, it's like the rise comes all the way down like that. And there's a highlight there. Here, I've got a yellow tag there. I do like these long bristles as well, because it's less controlled, so it gives you more of a I think there's actually more white in there than I think there is. So it's just quite a bit more white there. getting there with this one. White down here, this bluey white again. Again, I'm moving around so I can get the strokes going the same direction as what I'm painting. So it builds the object. Here, I don't know why I've got that there, because that's not there. Oh, it's further up, look, there it is, it's around her belly. That there, I've got the blacks up there, look, can you see? So this here isn't there, it's further up here, the black. Sort of coming around like that. And there is a bit of black there. Sometimes you have to decide to copy what you see, or decide to use your artistic, they call it the artistic license. Obviously, if you're working this way, not everybody works literally. Sometimes they need a lot of artistic license. So there is a little bit of a spot there in a cow. She's got a little bit going on there. So it's building her up a little bit better. She's probably the tricky one. It's always a tricky part of a picture. She's it. Again, I've lost the eye there, so I'm just going to indicate something there. That helps me. It's more that, isn't it? It's the shape of that. Going over. That is white. That white comes down there. That white goes there. That's better. Can you see? It's just that little ear. That little ear thing gave me the shape there. Better. Happier with that. This cobalt blue again up here. I'm not using a lot of paint, look. I've took too much of it there. Let's see here. Near the white. Needs a bit of that lemon in. See if it's better up this way. Might be a bit too bright now. Just dull it down. Whenever you want to dull anything down, add white, because it desaturates the paint, the colours. And I'm liking this. I'm still liking this apricot I made, which is quite not in that knee, that leg there. So this Perspex, I didn't really go into it much, did I? The Perspex I got from the framer, because it fits my, I got them to fit, to cut, to fit my discharge box for when I'm outside painting, which it does perfectly. And what I've done is I've painted the back of it white. I like it. See, this is all about personal choice. Some artists will paint it grey. The back of the... Some artists use glass. I tried glass and that just broke in my box, so that was a no-no. And Perspex was the next option, which is perfect. So I've got a couple of these palettes, which I might go back and get more because they're so handy, and just use this as a palette now and not the paper. I would normally buy the paper stuff, which I use for my teaching. It's quite good for teaching because you can just, after you've done the lesson, just put it in the bin. You haven't got oil paint hanging around. This you can use again and again. You just scrape when you finish painting. Finish to paint, you scrape it off. Clean it with a bit of Zest-it. So that comes around. See how that here, that line goes behind that black there and comes round. And she has got a bit of a pinky belly on that one. She's coming on. Not perfect, this one. This one's quite hard because the foreshortening, isn't it? That's why she's straight in front of me. Do you like these brushes? Old rosemary. Oh no, this isn't rosemary. This is a silver. So the palette, sorry, that's because I'm concentrating. The palette is painted with gesso on the back. So that means now I get a white to mix my colour. Like I said, I'm just going to take a bit more of this apricot, this Scarlet Lake. I think I use this yellow. Did I? Can't remember now. White. Yeah, I did. So it's painted with gesso on the back, and then I can see to colour mix. Some artists don't like the whites, they don't think it's true, and they use grey. It's preference, really, what you want. I'm used to white because I've used the throwaway palettes, so I'm used to the white. So, you know, you might prefer it to be grey. And obviously there's wooden palettes people use, which I used in the early days when I first started out in my teenage years. But I much prefer this now. Got used to. You just get something you get used to. There's no right or wrong way. I'm just going to add a bit more sienna in that, just to darken. It's quite dark. That one. It looks a bit odd because it's white. It's when you start putting all the greens in, these legs all blend in better. So we're coming to the last one, just to finish off this session. A little bit of if I had more time for today, I would have put in some of the background, so that was drying overnight as well, but I'm not going to. I want to keep, especially with all these light colour, I want to keep everything pretty clean. So I don't want to contaminate the paint, the colours too much. Just blend there a little bit. So just use that brush there just to blend that black in there. So the halo that I left there has just blended that in. This blue again, lovely. Love this blue. Just looking at where I can put it actually on this cow. The light's starting to go in here as well now. I have got daylight bulbs which I use in the winter, but there's nothing like proper daylight for painting. This has got a nice bit of yellow going in here. She's got this, see, she's got this pinky colour coming up as well. Quite a few colours in this one because she's in the shadows. Let's put the nose in. So I hope Sam, oh, the lady that I spoke that I went to plein air, she's part of the group, watches this and thinks, oh, that's better. I can follow this one. I'll tell her it's on there. I'll tell her it's on there and to have a go. Obviously, I have to use a different original. It'll give her an idea. So images, yeah, Unsplash. My friend, my arty friend, introduced me to all of that. She's brilliant. She looks after me. I look after her a little bit, not as much, but I do a little bit. And yeah, we help each other. This is getting a bit too near the edge. I might have to put it there now. So she introduced me to Unsplash, which is brilliant to get images from. To paint from. Now I have joined the Strada Easel September challenge, which happens obviously in September. And you've got to paint from life, you can't paint from photos on that. I'll give it a go. Don't know if I'll be able to do one every day or finish one every day, but you don't have to. It can be painted over multiple days as long as there's a difference in each day. Each day's painting. I'm going to give it a go. I've never done anything like that before. You win an easel, which I don't think I'm going to win because you have to do a different painting every day, and I don't know if I can get that, but I'm going to do as much as I can on that. It's a competition type thing. Now, this is very white, so I'm going to make sure I've got a nice clean brush there. And we will look at that tomorrow as well. Painting this has reminded me of horses, which I haven't painted yet. My friend who I was on about earlier, my art friend, she's a equestrian painter as well as everything else. She paints portraits. She's very good at horses. And she uses mainly pastel, but she does use the medium. The mediums, but I suppose her passion is pastels. And she's very good at horses and all that. But this is, because it's cattle, I love these shapes of the cattle, do you know? I'm just going to tidy that up a little bit there. I might have a go at an old horsey painting. Getting into animals. They're great to paint. I don't know what, I think it's just a shadow I've got there, so it's just like a shadow that's going on in the skin. I do like the ground. The ground is working really well with these light colours of the skin here. It's working really well there. I want to put the greens on. Actually, what I might do at this stage, let's just give her some more. It's not quite, it's a bit mushy now because I've got to the end of the cows for today, so I'm rushing it, thinking, oh. There's a bit more. I'm not going to use that brush, I'm going to use my black brush. I've done that, I made that mistake before. You can't really, once you've got white in a painting, you can't really start using the same brush because it's just going to desaturize all of your colours, and that's when you sort of get into a muddy mess. So yeah, these brushes, this is the old Rosemary brush now. I like it. Nice. I'm liking that brush. I like the longer. The longer bristles on it, and there's black there. They say the longer bristles give you more of a painterly feel to it. See, I'm going up the brush now with my hand. Not much going on with these legs. That leg's a bit dodgy. It's a bit blue. Looks like he's got blood circulation problems in that one. Let's just see. I can just, while we're at this stage. Right, so I am going to put a little bit of highlight here. See, that's how you sort of tidy up. That is yellow in there, and we can't put yellow into this until it's dry. It's just going to overpower all the paint. I'm just going to put, again, a line around that just to highlight it again. Triangle of light there, which is there as well. Now, that's about it on that. What I am going to do is just very lightly use some of this in the grass. See, this is like, this is the shadow, this is the grass here. When I start to paint the yellow and greens on tomorrow, that's going to warm everything up really nicely and help with the shadows of the grass, because it will be underneath. These are darker areas. Yeah. Sort of marked out the shadow that the cows are standing on there. It's going into my lovely yellow, look. I love that lemon yellow, it's great. Here, so it's a bit of a, I'm using lots of Zest-It here, so it's nice and, oops, there we go, fell down in the end. Well, you know what I'm doing, I'm only putting this colour on anyway now, so you can see that. I'm using lots of Zest-It, so it's nice and watery with this. And just really where the grass is. Now here there is a sort of a wall that goes behind them. I'm going to put that in, and that'll help me think about whether I want grass there or the wall. Anything that's green, this burnt sienna helps. Missed a leg out there. See if we can get some of that in. On there. And what I will do with my palette is leave it, because I'll be able to use these paints tomorrow. Great thing about oils, not a lot of waste really compared to the others. Well, watercolours no waste, because you just reconstitute it. Acrylic is where the waste is really. Yeah, so I don't know if I need this. But you already can see that how that sienna is just changing. The depth. There's a bit of green here as well, some trees. So you want it in that. That's a bit of a wall there, so I might leave that white. So that's what we call a ground. I haven't put it on all of it. I just want it on the grass. Because the sky, I don't want this in the sky. I want the sky to be nice and clean and fresh. So you can use your oils very weak, almost like watercolour. Now this, obviously we can't see some of the hooves, so we'll get to that tomorrow. How to do that. there's green behind there, so that's got to be, I don't think I'm going to have the tail. Just paint it out. Might do, we'll see. But that is grey. There, I'm leaving that. And then this. Oh look, there's a bit of green there. Missed it. I'm not putting that tree in there. See, using some of my artistic license there. Right, so that's ready for tomorrow now, I think. Part 1. Just as I turned it off, I thought, do you know what? I am going to put a little bit of sky on. So I thought I couldn't. I've started the video again. I couldn't leave you hanging with that. If you're going to paint something similar, see that's gone into that now. Let's just wipe that there. I'm just using this cobalt blue. Just lift that up. Can you see? Just using that. The blue is at the bottom near the cows. Quite like that effect, so. Bank holiday here. Right, it's a Friday before the bank holiday, so everybody's going to be driving home for Christmas, aren't they? Well, not Christmas, you know what I mean? Summer, but so yeah, quite haphazard. Trying to keep it lighter at the top because that's where the white clouds are. So this now will dry. You're not painting against white, so when you start putting your final colour tones in, it helps to get the right colour tone. Here is grey, so I'm just going to use a little bit of that black I've made just to get that grey in, just as a base. I might mix a bit of this in it as well, just to warm that up. So most of the canvas is covered now, and that will help with tomorrow. This will dry. This will be like touch dry tomorrow because they're very thin. I haven't painted this very thick at all. I don't know about that. I'll just put a little bit more. Just run that off the page. That's a bit better, isn't it? So you've got the, you know, just running off the page there behind them. Lovely. Part 1 complete now, definitely.